This week on Gymwright Live, we interview Sam Pogue of TrueCoach to learn how you can leverage technology to grow your personal training or custom programming business in a big way. But before we get into that, I'd like to give a warm thank you to SiteRight.io as our official sponsor for this show. Every gym owner deserves a great website, and now there is no excuse not to have one. Upgrade your online presence by going to SiteRight.io. They are up to big things you don't want to miss out. Also, if you aren't already a member of The Network, our free private Facebook group, you are missing out. With almost 2,000 motivated gym owners, along with our team of growth specialists in there, you will find tons of great conversations, live weekly Q&A sessions with yours truly, and step-by-step how-tos of some of the most effective strategies out there for gym owners today. Simply click the link in the comments below to get access right away. By the way, this will also get you access to our free sales and marketing planner to help you make this the best year of your business yet. Again, just click the link in the comments below so you can start taking your gym owner game to the next level right now. All right, let's get this party started. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Gymwright Live. I am your host, Marcus Guersey, and this week we welcome back to the show special guest, Sam Pogue. Sam, you are a dear friend. You are the man you've actually worked with a couple of pretty serious brands here in the space, and it's always a pleasure to have you on, brother. Been looking forward to having you back on. Welcome to the show.
So thankful that you had me on again, and to always be able to have a great conversation with you. I owe so much of my career to your guidance and friendship, and I'm so happy to give back to your community.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So, Sam, you are the VP of brand over at a little company called TrueCoach, which if you are a personal trainer or do custom programming and don't know who they are yet, you better look them up right now because they are a total game changer for your business. And I speak personally from experience from when I was running my gym, when we did quite a bit of custom program design. We were doing it the old-fashioned way with spreadsheets, and although it worked, it was super inefficient. And when I first found this system, I remember my partner and I sitting down and doing the math on how much time we were spending on clients, because we had already done the math to see how much client load we could take on, and it wasn't very many clients. And when we did the math on the new average time spent, we were like, wait, what? We can quadruple the size of our individual design business and it's still easier and the experience is better. Yeah, sign us up. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. The system is really, really badass. And it's been a while since I've even used it, at least as a coach. I've used it as a consumer, so I've kind of seen some of the new bells and whistles you guys have. But you've been on the show here before representing, and now you're here representing TrueCoach. Tell us a little bit about TrueCoach and what you do there.
Yeah, I got to be honest, guys. Marcus was a big influencer in me taking this job. And so prior to being here, I was on it overseeing partnerships in the biz dev world, but slowly accruing skills and strategy around marketing and building a brand. Mm-hmm. And TrueCoach came calling and was looking for someone to help drive their content and their organic traffic and their message that they're sending to their audience. And so I felt very blessed that they entrusted me to be able to come in and start telling this story around, what is TrueCoach really trying to do? And yes, TrueCoach on the surface is an online platform for coaches to be able to deliver online custom programming to their clients remotely or even in person if they chose to do so. But what we really are, and Marcus, you hit it really well in the head when you talked about understanding how much time you were spending on programming from emails and spreadsheets to looking at TrueCoach. And I know that's something you guys are learning in the Gymwright community, to start looking at your time this way because this industry has so much burnout. And that's where TrueCoach really came into play. Was we were looking at the model. Casey Jenks, our founder, was, wait, this is such an inefficient game to be emailing spreadsheets and texting and calling and emailing and Skyping. There's so many platforms. How can we build a one-stop solution for coaches to manage all of their client data, their programs, their training, their messaging, so that way they're able to deliver the highest value they possibly can to their clients without sacrificing their own bandwidth and burning out like so many coaches in this industry do. And so we wanted to create as simple of a platform as possible for you to be able to learn how to program and be able to give it to your clients. And I don't say learn how to program like you don't know how to do it, but doing it online to where you can do every single client. You got 150 clients, you can sit on the platform for 30 minutes and you can crush all those programs, right? And it's a space to be able to not only organize and be able to track data instead of going like, how much has that person squatted 3 years ago, right? You could pull that up in a metric set and look at, oh, wow, you can see their entire progress from a specific lift that you do. So overall, we're a single page web app that allows coaches to be able to build programs, deliver their communication to their clients, as well as being able to track all the data that they would, just like they normally would with their clients. So now, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so now coming in from me as the coach, or as a coach, and now in the VP of brand role, my goal is to help highlight what TrueCoach really does, and that's give coaches their time back. Mm-hmm. So that way they can take things like continuing education seminars that they've been wanting to take, hire a second employee if you have a physical space gym, be able to take a vacation with your family. And I know those are pain points for so many coaches. And so this platform ideally is that solution for you. And it's going to take, I'm not going to say it's not going to take work to learn a new platform on the front end, but we wanted to create one that was very easy to use, similar to Gmail or Apple products. You didn't need a 4-hour webinar to learn how to do it. If you're looking at the calendar and you hit the plus button, that probably means add something. So we wanted to build software for humans, not just coaches. So you're not going to go in there and like look at all these fancy calculators and algorithms. You're like, I'm not training someone like that, so I don't need that many different features. I just wanted to make sure that my client's getting a really easily digestible but clean and a platform that makes that coach look good, right? If you're a coach or a gym and you're offering some sort of remote online programming and it comes in a really nice, well-designed app, that's going to be a much better experience for them than downloading the email and the PDF or the your Excel spreadsheet and trying to zoom in on your phone, what was that set again? And then being able to message the trainer right from that app and be like, hey, what was that regression that you wanted me to do? Or, I didn't understand what RPE is or whatever that is. And now the coach gets it right there in that app and they can track all their conversations with their clients in one space. So now my job is to tell that story, that we're here to help coaches save time and be able to, go on the vacations they want to go to and go to the certs. And then manage a better business as well as, delivering higher values to their clients.
Yeah, man, you just covered a ton of ground. There was a lot in there. I think really the biggest thing for us, and this is pre a lot of the newer stuff, which I want to actually get into. I'm legitimately curious myself here what you guys have done since, but one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we got was how much more polished we looked. Right. And for us, we're a brick and mortar CrossFit gym. And for us, our custom programming and personal training were our premium programs, right? So we had our group membership stuff, and then you would ascend to, custom programming either as an add-on or a total replacement. And then also working with people remotely who weren't even in the area. So for us, it was a premium add-on, and there was nothing premium feeling about the way that we did it previously. And when we switched to the platform, and we're able to, particularly like how it has like movement. Oh, you do back squat and it's like, here's a video already canned, included in there that the client can click that gives them a step-by-step walkthrough, which we used to do all that stuff manually. And it was just, an incredible amount of work. And then we just logged into the system and we had already been trying to build our own videos and all that, which I still think is good to be on brand for yourself and have your own how-tos. But the cool thing was that they were all already in there.
Yeah.
And so now a lot of the people watching or listening to this already know who you guys are. And you guys have kind of become the gold standard for technology who provide individualized training, because I think your guys' focus has been on that experience, that user experience for both the coach and the consumer. But you guys have made a ton of improvements and additions and things like that. What are the crowd favorites nowadays, aspects or features of the platform?
Yeah, the latest one that we just launched was our first version of a coach's app. So right now, the app that you would download from the iOS store, the Apple store, is for your client, and that's how they digest the workout. On the coach end, you're still building out either on a mobile website or on your desktop. And so we just launched our Connect app, which is our native coaches app. So I can now communicate with you directly from an app. So if you're working out and you're training with me, cool, and you're at the gym doing your workout, right? And you send a message around, what was that set, or how many reps was I supposed to hit? And it comes right to this app to me, kind of like Facebook Messenger. And now I can track all of my clients' messages in one spot. And that was a huge pain point for a lot of our clients because social bandwidth is a real thing. And when you're communicating across Instagram, Facebook, other
nuts.
social media
They
platform
blow
is
you up on
truly.
all platforms based on
Yeah.
whatever's easiest. If they're at the gym, you're probably getting a text message, or if they're back at their desk, you're getting an email or whatever it was. It was all fronts, right? So
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. So you can now actually do it like all in app. So technically, I wouldn't even have to email anymore at all.
Yeah. You could do it
Oh,
all
that's
right
pretty
from there.
badass.
Yeah,
Um,
so we wanted to clean that communication piece up, and that was definitely a huge one for us to get out and make something for the coaches to be able to, it's a really cool experience for them too.
Right on. Um, okay, so you guys have made a bunch of improvements to the
Yep.
platform. Today, we're here to talk about how someone can grow their personal training or custom programming business, whether they're inside a gym and they're wanting to do kind of like what we did, where that's our like premium layer, or if they are standalone independent trainer doing their own thing, or whatever that looks like. Where do you want to begin with that?
I think that I want to talk about the process of getting going first because I think that's so important for a lot of coaches. If you guys are already been working with Marcus and Jess and building out better systems at your own facility, you know the value of your time and you know the value of making sure that you stay organized and time blocking, and that way you're doing more and less. So you're able to go home by 6 p.m. every night and have dinner with your family. And I know that's something you guys are learning, in these courses all the time. And I think it's so important. So when you install a new business system, let's say you're an already existing CrossFit gym and you offer, group classes and some personal training and you want to get in the online space, just like you would install a new program into your class, you don't just want to throw it in there without any sort of system behind it. Right. So let's look at what are you going to need to do to make sure this is successful? Can you forecast what sort of problems? Who's going to field all the questions, right? In terms of like if people email in, who's the primary point of contact, who's overseeing the quality, right? And just making sure that you have your head wrapped around, what conversations are going to need to happen. So that way, when the time comes, because things are going to go wrong, that someone's not looking around going, who's supposed to take care of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's first and foremost super important for you guys just to, understand who the process is, and then start going through and breaking down what is that client journey when they go through the online process, right? Because it is going to be a little bit different than your in-person experience. And maybe they are people that have had you in person, but ideally your goal is to be able to maximize time and profit. And so you can get people in Iowa if you're in California or New York or London. And so you may have never meet these people in person at all. And so we want to make sure that the experience that you're delivering is as high quality as your in-person one. So are they finding you through a landing page and you have a sales video, or is it coming from your website or social media? Let's look at the systems behind where these clients are going to come from, because I think a lot of coaches get into the online training with the assumption of, okay, I'm going to start online training and here we go and I'm accepting clients, and then it ends up being so much more work, like all the emails and all the like, oh, I don't have a video for that movement I need to do, and they're trying to ask me how to do it, and it becomes overwhelming, and then it starts overtaking the time that you spend on the business that's making you money, and then we end up getting overwhelmed, right? And I know that's
Right.
something you guys probably talk about. So just setting up like, okay, just like you would in anything else, what's the client journey? Who's coming through? Who are we targeting? Are we
Mm-hmm.
targeting a different audience than, the people in our gym? Or are we targeting the same exact people? Are we relying on our reputation, or are we relying on marketing, or are we relying on, what strategy are we looking to income, bring people in? And then at least then when you have a better understanding, and I'm not saying you're going to have everything perfect, but at least having that conversation with yourself, your team, if you're a gym, and saying, okay, do we understand the process for what happens when the clients start coming in the door and how we're going to handle this influx of business? Because we romanticize about like, oh my gosh, if I have 50 clients at $500 a month, oh my god, that's like no time. It takes me no time to program, but it's a new system, so we're learning. So set those things up for yourself first, identify those processes, and then look at like, we already come with 1,000 videos installed for your video library index. And you can upload your own directly from Instagram or YouTube or from your phone or your computer. So it's really easy to upload your own videos. And so that way you can start building your own video library index. I think just from an internal, like a branding standpoint, Marcus said this earlier, to have your own branding and your own videos where your coaches, that are familiar with your brand or your gym, are seeing them every time they do a squat or they look at that video. It might be subtle and it may have a hard time getting a direct ROI on it, but I think it's hyper valuable for the experience that your client gets.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's something that is going to take time. So when I tell people about getting their video library index set up, just like you would program any sort of other project in your week, set up 1 to 2 hours a week, just blocked off in your schedule to shoot content. And if you shot 2 hours of content a week for an entire year, it's 104 hours of videos that you'd be able to install. Because I think with online training, it's easy to think, people are going to come in, they're going to start training, but then you shot a video for this client for a squat, but then you can't find that video. And are you going to shoot a new
Right.
video for a squat every time you need to shoot it? No. Shoot one high quality squat video. That way, every time that you need to use that particular squat pattern, you have that video ready to go. And it's already set up, good angles, good lighting, right? That way you're not getting cut off. There's no ambient stuff going on in the background. That's a really easy thing to do. So, you can get started right now without having to do that, because we have the 1,000 videos in there and they're constantly getting more and more. But that would be a process I would start doing ahead of time. I would also look at when you're starting to get going, like building out, a nice FAQ page, because that client's never met you in person. You don't really know what their training age is, or, what experience they have, or what their real training environment's going to be like. So if you have goblet squats with a kettlebell with a 16 kilo, and that person, A, may not know what kilos weigh, 2, they may not have kettlebells at their gym. Do they know how to substitute accordingly, so they're not calling you in the middle of the day when you're training someone else, right? And being like, I don't know what to do for my workout. So having a resource for your clients to know, like empowering them with information where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, if there's no kettlebell, just go ahead and use a dumbbell the same weight. That's cool. Or let's say you're a big, strong guy like Marcus and the dumbbells don't go heavy enough for you, and you need to figure out, like, how do I still get a great leg pump? Well, it's like, oh, if you're in that situation, let's just go ahead and throw in a tempo, right? And so just assume you're going to do a 4-second eccentric on the tempo. And it's like, oh, okay, right? So I think when you have this online experience, you need to empower the consumer, the customer, with information so that way they feel in control. And the last thing you want is that client to not know what's going on, and they feel frustrated and overwhelmed. And now they're going to blame that on why the program didn't work and why you're not the trainer for them. And so those little subtleties, just like you guys talk about, and like the way you deliver sessions and the quality of your messaging and everything from the front desk experience when that brand new client walks into your gym, think about that same exact game when someone signs up for your online business. Are they getting that virtual hand up where they're like, wow, this is the person I've been waiting for, right? That you're speaking to what I'm here for, because that online experience is, while it's easier because you have more access to more people, it's harder because you don't get to feel people out. Like, you don't get body language. And so your copy and everything, your systems ahead of time need to have those things in place on the front end.
Well, first of all, it's all about the leg pump. Second of all, I love what you said about, it's when you're in person, you can really get away with a lot less prep, because you can rely on your people skills and the fact that you care and that you're friendly and you're excited and that you're face to face, right? But when you go remote, I think a lot of people they oversimplify or they underestimate. Let me change that. They underestimate the effort and forethought that's still required for you to deliver an experience. The value of the experience is that much more important, because you can't rely on the in-person experience. It has to all be done on their own virtually. So to map out, to first of all, to prep and think about the whole system, right? So how am I even going to get people? What does that process look like? How am I gathering information when they come on board so that I can make sure I do a good job with their program? Map out the whole process of onboarding, of or of acquisition, of the sale, of onboarding, and really the whole journey then beyond that longer term, right? So create that template. Then go through and say, all right, now we've got the basic pieces in place. Now let's create the assets for all that. So let me write that questionnaire. Let me create that FAQ. Let me build the landing page and the follow-up emails for when someone signs on, the welcome. Like, creating all those things in advance, it's not that much work. If you can just make yourself a punch list, you can probably knock it out in a couple of days with just a little bit of organization and, forethought into what you need to do. And there are a lot of great tools that you can pull online, from welcome email examples to customer journey templates or tools to inspire you and all that. But just think about, like you would in a class, what are all the things that I want them to feel, and what are all the situations that may come up that I want to address. And I think just the fact that, like you said, it comes preloaded with the videos. And I know this seems like a really weird thing to think is that cool, but we thought it was really freaking cool, because we were in the process of shooting videos, which it allowed us to now say, oh, cool, we don't have to get the whole library built and then we can start. We could just start, and then we can use all the stuff that's in there and just slowly replace them. So same thing, like you mentioned, we just had a schedule where every month we shot a handful of videos. We batch shot them. We had a guy come in and make sure the lighting and audio was all good, and we'd shoot a bunch of videos, and then we can load them up. And you just kind of keep working your way through it that way. but it allows you to get started really quickly and look really professional really quickly too. And one other thing that I thought was really powerful, one of the biggest things I think and you and I were talking about this a little bit before we went live, but the most successful people out there coaching, they're working from templates. You don't write your program from zero every single time, right? You create your beginner strength template, your gymnastics phase 1 or whatever. I mean, there's a million ways you can tackle it, but either way, you create progressions, you create templates. And then what you do is you test someone into that template. You're like, oh, they're going to start here. And then you're going to modify because, so-and-so has a bum shoulder. So let's tweak that a little bit. And there's a thing inside TrueCoach that you can build templates and leave them in there and store them, right? And I can build it one time and then I can use it forever on whoever I want. And it feels totally custom, which if you're a gym, one of the things that we teach is, for some gyms, is to do specialty program cycles, right? Not everyone has the staff or the bandwidth or the desire to do in-person personal training or even to do custom programming. But what is a really good model for a lot of gyms is to do these, seasonal or whatever you want to call them, specialty cycles. So you still have your group membership, and then, hey guys, we're going to do this 10-week strength program. Anyone who wants to sign up, it's X amount of dollars. You're going to get a custom strength program that is on top of, or potentially even in replacement of our regular program, and it's going to be an extra, so and so, however many dollars. Maybe you have an extra class once a week just for that group, but it allows you to not have to have more staff and still add a premium layer on top, right? So in this case, what I would do is I would say, cool, let's do a strength workshop. And then I'm going to sell everyone in that strength workshop, because everyone there is interested in it, into my strength program. But I'm going to have one program written in advance inside the tool. And if I have 25 people sign up, I literally am just going to go through, and now I can just individualize, tweaking the little details for each person, but I did not have to sit down and start from scratch. And even when we were using templates and spreadsheets, it was still way less efficient than using your guys' tool. So I wanted to put that out there because it's not just about personal training, or it's not just about like full custom program design, OPEX style per se. It can be done as just accessory cycles or accessory programs or these specialty program cycles, like the example I just gave.
Yeah, I think it's, just like anything else, if you looked back at your training, you have a style, right? You have your style, I have my style. Doesn't make either one right or wrong. And this show isn't about programming by any means, but you're going to have, like, if you have a brand new Grandma Betty walking into your gym for the first time and she's just there to like feel better, get stronger, maybe lose a little fat, then like you probably have like, oh, we're going to work through a squat, a hinge, a push, and a pull. And then it's kind of a plug and play system, right? So if you have these kind of like, oh, here's my intro style, here's my advanced strength, because unless you've been training someone for a while, their history, you're probably not getting super deep into a very specific program when there's a lot of different details that someone else wouldn't do. But even then, you'd still train from a template, right? If I was training Marcus and, whether he's brand new or I've had him for 3 or 4 years, right? If we're doing upper lower body splits, we probably have a max effort day. We probably have a dynamic or a repetition day, right? And so I'd kind of just, I'm going to pull out, instead of back squats, I'm going to do front squats, right? And so the template's already there. I think a lot of times with programming where trainers do use a lot of bandwidth is they're trying to reinvent the wheel every single program.
Totally.
And it's not that it's not giving them, don't look at it as you're shorting a client because you didn't sit and like, okay, this person needs this from the very beginning, right? Have a template in mind where it's like, okay, we're on 3 days a week and we do total body strength and there's always a squat, a push, and a pull. And now it's like, okay, now I just think from that, am I on a half kneeling, tall kneeling, standing? Like, what are your regressions, progressions? And can you think of those quickly? And so when you think from a framework, you program in a framework, and programming doesn't take you near as long. And you're delivering a way higher value program without spending 9 hours a day to program, right? You can't spend 4 hours a day to write a program if you have 200 clients, plus a gym, and plus, personal training inside. Like, it would eat your time up. And so being able to like use those canned programs is a great way. Or let's say I did build you a very custom individual program that was very specific to you, and I was like, oh my gosh, that got him great results. That was awesome. I can just select and copy that whole program and turn it into a program that I saved. And now it's like, oh, that was awesome. So if you did that work ahead of time, now you can save it. Mm-hmm. And I think those are some features where, maybe you like to build those really custom programs, and all of a sudden, you need to save it for later instead of having to go rewrite the book again, right?
Totally.
Clicks, you're done. So that's huge.
Yeah, something we did was and I still teach this today, is to program. When you take on a custom programming client, to go in, even though you should be doing a prescriptive sale. So I think a lot of gym owners forget. They think like, oh, well, I'm going to sell these, and they go to month, and it's not really a great idea. You should be doing this. Hey, Sam, you said your goal was to lose 40 pounds, and by the time you go on that cruise next year, that'll take us at least X amount of time. And then once we lose the weight, we obviously want to get you looking good and feeling great. Here's how we're going to get there. That you're doing a longer prescription sale, right? But we teach to go in 3-month blocks. So you do a 3-month commitment cycle, and then you set your rhythm, which would be, we're going to get it in weekly doses. And, so I would do the messenger thing where I check in every week, hey, how you feeling? How did these additions or these tweaks feel for you last week? Great. Here's what we got coming up next week. Let me know if you have any questions. And we would do that once a week. And then every month we would then do a call to kind of get some rapport back in to make sure they're, answer any questions. How you feeling? Hey, you did awesome last month. Here's what we got going on next month. You're going to notice blah, blah, blah. But when we would do that in then 3-month cycles, and when we had an in-person client, then every 3rd month we would bring them in and do a complete reevaluation, retest, pictures, measurements, in body, whatever you got. And that's the framework, the cycle. So we would sit down and we would program a full 3-month cycle based on their goals, based on that testing and all that. And because we could build it all in advance in probably about an hour and a half, something like that. And that got faster and faster once we started, the templates got more refined, right? And we had more versions of it because we then started breaking them into groups, male, female, beginner, intermediate, advanced, and other different variables. We create all these different versions of templates, but now you can do a full 3-month program that is totally personalized because you plug in your template, you tweak and tune based on those couple of details. You have 3 months dialed, and now all you have to do every week is just, if something changes, make an adjustment in the whole template. Versus what we used to do, which is going in smaller intervals. Actually, when we started, we would literally program week by week. And then it went to, okay, let's go to month by month. And we did that for a little while. And then we realized, wait a minute, really we should be programming. How would we program for our gym? Well, we would program in way longer cycles. So we just started doing it the exact same way. And the trick was how we sold it was different. But anyway, the time savings there were huge. Because we were able to bring someone on and create a very personalized experience, high quality, focusing more on the experience and the communications and all that, rather than behind the scenes, the stuff that they don't see anyway, right? So spending more of that time doing a phone call, an initial onboarding interview phone call, or in person if you've got it at your gym, spending the time and energy on those aspects. And then so that you can scale the back end, because now your back end is super efficient and repeatable, right? That's where you can really start to stack clients. And I mean, we had, how many clients do some of the higher performing or more known coaches
in
use?
Arizona, Bond, who has 145 individual clients. And he does very specialized. He does a lot of special operations and high-level CrossFit athletes. Mm-hmm. And so everything is very meticulous. And he's also a functional medicine doctor, is working towards that. Mm-hmm. So he also does blood panels and all these other stats that he can track inside the app as well. He keeps it in their notes. And it's a cool way for him to be able to manage, because he can sit and, he spends 3 hours every morning programming, communicating with his clients. And because he can do everything from one spot, he can do it, and he still has time to go skiing and camping and doing all these things, which is pretty cool. And then we have also teams, we'll have, let's say, Marcus's gym, and then Marcus might have 6 coaches underneath Marcus's gym using the online platform to coach from, mm-hmm. right? But so a lot of you who are CrossFit box owners or gym owners, micro gym owners, now your gym is the one that kind of has the reputation. You probably do as a coach as well, but now you could, as a coach, can kind of get out from being the one that has to do everything. And now you can scale your business to where, one of my coaches needs a place to grow, right? He's kind of already maxed out coaching classes. Now I can get him into hey, you're overseeing all the programming for the online coaching business on behalf of Marcus's gym, and you're going to work with these other 3 coaches and helping them program and overseeing it. And now you as the owner can, move on to the next business process, right? Because you installed this, you advanced people, you added more scale, and you're increasing revenue without having to expand more time for yourself, which is something obviously super important as you guys grow.
That's a really important point, I think. I think what you just said, most people already know that when it comes to the group program, right? So I start a gym. It's me probably doing everything at first. crap, I got to hire some coaches. You hire some coaches, you lower your load, you focus more on growing and developing the business and the coaches, right? So that you can scale what you've got, right? So now I'm not capped at the 75 or so members maybe that I was able to keep up with. And now I can grow larger and larger, revenue grows and the business becomes more successful, right? But then they're like, oh, cool, I'm going to start doing individual design or personal training or whatever variation of that they want to do. And it's like they forgot all of that all over again. They're like, oh, well, I'm just going to have to take on this on. It's back to just crazy dollar for hours, which don't get me wrong. It's a phenomenal way for you to make a great living doing what you love doing as a coach and all that. That's killer. But if you applied that same logic and said, okay, well, now let me, instead of it just being the Marcus show at, let's say, my old gym Active, and I said, okay, instead of it just being me, why wouldn't I train my coaches on how to do this, give them the opportunity to make a better income, a more full-time income, which if you have people you're trying to make full-time and you can't quite figure out how, because people shouldn't really be doing more than 20 or so classes a week without burning out, right? So how do you bridge that gap? This is how you bridge the gap. Teach them how to do this, something that they can scale so they can make a great living, all running through your business. And now you can, again, dial yourself back, keep your cherry-picked clients if you like, or however much load you want, lighter or heavier, up to you. But you can multiply the impact, you can multiply the revenue so much more efficiently. And that's really, in my personal opinion, if you want to build a great business in the gym industry, it's not just in the group program, right? There's a couple of pillars you want to make sure you establish. You have your core group pillar. Make sure that is on rails, that is thriving. Then shift to your premium service layer. And again, that comes in all different shapes and sizes. It could be nutrition coaching, could be personal one-on-one training, short interval, long interval, custom program design, specialty cycles, you name it, right? But shift to that and then figure out how do you scale that on top of it. Obviously, retail is another pillar that you can then apply across the board. But if you can get those different revenue centers healthy and scalable and efficient, depends on what you define as success, but if that's being on the more time on the floor, or more time coaching your coaches, or more time with your family, or going and taking a vacation whenever you want, or working remotely and having your gym thrive, these are all necessary for you to do that, because now you can make a wildly profitable facility without having to have multiple locations. And truly, I've said it on many, many shows. I truly think that the gym business is one of the coolest lifestyle businesses out there. You get to be the best part of people's day. You are doing something positive. They're investing in themselves. You're a central hub for your community of positivity, of all these wonderful things. Not to mention, you've practically got more pull than the mayor once you've changed a few hundred people's lives in a big way. You've got a lot of access. So it's a really good place to be. And I think that using tools like what you guys provide are required, I think, to be able to do that well enough and efficiently enough. Because you can do it the old-fashioned way and just burn yourself out, or you can do it the smart way and scale.
Right. And that's the point I really wanted to make, guys. Like, I don't want this to be like, I could, name every feature or whatever that the platform has, but that you won't understand that until you jump on it and play around and do the trial and go through it and see if it does work for you. But either way, whether it's our platform and maybe there's someone else that does work for you a little bit better, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I do want you to do it where I want you to avoid that burnout. We lose too many good coaches in this industry because of
100%.
it. So go into this game. Yes, online training does provide you the opportunity where you could be sitting in Tulum with a margarita and, programming and training your client, right? But it does take work to get on the front end to get that life going. It's not instantaneous. So I want to make sure that as we talk about online training, we understand that it's a game. As installing one of these pillars, just like you guys do with Gymwright here, is that you're going to have to go through the process and look at every single step, so that way you're not getting overwhelmed and burnt out, and then you think if it's a failing system that you can't install it. Right? Mm-hmm. We want to provide you the opportunity to grow. And maybe that's, whether you as the owner operator of a gym can step away and go do something else, or as a way for you to grow, your coach's revenue. Let's be honest, coaching's tough to make money in. So when you have younger coaches in it and they're like, oh, they're so good, but they get an offer from someone else for more money, hiring and firing is one of the most expensive things in the small business world. And it costs you not only your time, but money to get other coaches ramped up and hiring, et cetera. So if you can build in resources, if you're an owner, just like using an online training like Marcus is talking about, it gives you one more thing to add to your coaches so that you can help increase their revenue and you can help create a better culture in your in-person gym, because now it's the same coaches that they've all grown to fall in love with. And that culture just keeps getting better and better because you provided your coaches the next level step as well for them to evolve and take their business to the next level, and they can start living the life that they hope to live.
Great point. I love that. So how can a gym owner get started with TrueCoach? How can they set themselves up for success using a tech platform like yours?
Yeah, I think, once again, we already talked about going through the process of making sure that you understand where your business is at and who's going to oversee what process. But, for us, we offer a great free 2-week trial, no credit card necessary. You can go in, just put your email in, and it jumps you right to the platform. We have an awesome help center. Our customer success team has really done a great job taking every single question they get on a regular basis and turning that into a great resource article, videos, webinars. We do webinars a couple times a week for new users to be able to learn how to use the platform. And, if you have, pretty a lot of questions or like have a lot of those kind of things, set up a call with one of our team members and they'll jump on and be able to help walk you through some of those questions. So we want to, our goal is to make sure that we're providing a really good resource for humans to be able to interact with this software. Because just like anything else, if it's overwhelming or it seems too much to really take on, like a new technology platform often is, your first reaction when you become overwhelmed is to shut off, right? And so we don't want you to go through that. We want you to feel like we're giving you all the resources necessary to be successful, putting out blog content now that can help you grow your business as well, to go in tangent with that. But the big thing, guys, when you're starting to install this when you're a gym owner and operator, is to understand who's overseeing that, what are the steps, what are your processes. Just like if you're installing any other pillar that they tell you guys about here in Gymwright, do you understand that avenue first and then be able to start, okay, what is our course of action to be able to install the software? Because for you're going to learn the software pretty quickly because it's set up to be very intuitive. So I want to make sure that you know that the setup is really in the process of the business, just like anything else. And because you had to learn how to use Instagram, you had to learn how to use Facebook, but you only did it by using it, right? But that might seem like a really easy solution, like, oh yeah, go and play. But once you're there, that's great. But if you don't have everything else set up, that's where you're going to get in trouble and you get overwhelmed. And so go on, try out the trial, get a free 2 weeks that you can jump on and do. And then if you use my last name, Pogue, P-O-G-U-E, you can get 50% off your first month when you do sign up.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, shout out to Casey and the crew for building a tool that, legitimately makes it easier for coaches to, make a great living and deliver a great experience to their clients. Shout out to you for coming on here and I think taking an incredible company and somehow making it even better. And everything you've brought since you came on board a little while back or a little earlier this year, it was noticeable in the feeling of the culture of the brand as a legitimate consumer. Like I still use the platform as a consumer. My coach delivers my program through that. So you guys are killing it, man. Final question for today. In one sentence, if you could give one piece of advice to a gym owner, what would it be?
Let the platform work for you. Don't try to fight against the platform and do it your way. Let the software send the emails for you. Let them manage the clients and organize everything and track all the data. Just make sure you go through and record each thing like you would with a handwritten program. But let the program work for you so you're not the one running all over.
Leverage the tools, baby. That's all it is. Awesome. Sam, thank you so much for coming on today, man. Where can people find more about you and TrueCoach?
You can go to truecoach.co. Yep, I know it's confusing. .co, not com. TrueCoach, TrueCoach.co. You can find me at Sam Pogue on all social media platforms. Type in TrueCoach on Instagram, Facebook. That we're there as well. Yeah, I think popping in every once in a while on a Gymwright comment.
Awesome. Very good. Sam, thank you so much again for taking the time with us today. Always such a pleasure to have you on, man. And I want to thank all of you motivated gym owners out there for joining us today as well. Again, if you're interested in getting free access to our private Facebook group, just click the link in the comments below and it'll get you access right away, that we can get access to our sales and marketing plan and all that to help you hopefully make this a better year for your business. And also, if you'd like to watch the show live, you can join the conversation every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the Gymwright Facebook page. Thanks again for your support, guys. Now get out there and build something that matters. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.